Rikki, this pretty much went as expected, but yet still listening to the family members giving their statements. No one can, I think for the judge, for the family members, everybody gathered in that courtroom, what we still don't really understand is why. There were some money issues, there was an affair, but it's still, the monstrosity of this crime doesn't seem to line up with what was going on in their lives, and I guess we'll never really know that.
That's correct. We will never really know unless this defendant decides at some point that he wants to give an interview for radio or television or a streaming service, and that he will want to tell his story. But otherwise than that, or perhaps write a book, otherwise than that, we really won't know the full facts of what could ever motivate anyone to commit such a heinous crime. The only good thing out of today, if there is any good thing, is that the family members got to say what they needed to say. And I think that this is a perfect example of why all of the state courts and the federal courts recognize the value of victim impact statements.
Yeah, you know, and just for the legalities here, Rikki, so life sentence, no possibility of parole. Christopher Watts got life sentences for all the counts for the individuals, including Shanann, Bella, Celeste. There was that charge, which I've never heard of, but unlawful termination of life. The family had chosen to name the unborn child Nico. He got 48 years for that to run consecutively with the other sentences.
Well, one of the things that happened in this case was the plea bargain was very, very thorough, that he was going to get, we knew, 3 consecutive life sentences. Why would they be consecutive in addition to the 48 years? It is to make sure that at no point in time could there ever be a possibility of parole. The family also agreed to this plea bargain, which they certainly had a right to say they would or would not agree to, at least to have influence on the prosecution. But they agreed to the plea bargain for the simple reason that no one wanted to be put through a trial where we would have to all live through the tale again. So this plea bargain is really valuable to both sides. If he did not want to die, there are some people who would rather die than spend the rest of their life in prison. If he did not want to die, he got a benefit. The family certainly got to have their catharsis, their need to speak, which I think is so valuable, but also the fact that they are now guaranteed that he will never be outside a prison ever.
Yeah, and finally, Rikki, this case attracted national attention primarily because of some of the things we've just been showing here on our air, the numerous social media videos that exist of the family smiling, laughing, the daughters smiling. You know, in one video, one of the daughters says, you know, I love you, Daddy. So this sort of captivated the nation because no one could understand what led Christopher Watts to do the things that he did. But, you know, he killed his wife. He killed his 2 young daughters. You heard the prosecutor saying at one point one of the daughters fought for their lives because of some of the injuries that they sustained as they were being smothered to death. And then he hired an operator for this large oil and gas driller and placed the babies in these oil canisters and disposed of Shanann Watts' body. It was just horrific.
Well, it's horrific, and I would say this, Vlad, without fear of contradiction. In addition to the decades of criminal law that I practiced on both sides, that there were also the years that I have covered hundreds of cases, particularly for court TV, and watched in graphic detail and listened to the graphic details of terrible crimes. And I would say that there are very few that could even remotely approach the horrific nature of this tragedy.
Indeed. Rikki Klieman, thank you so much, as always, for your analysis. We appreciate it.